Welcome back to part 3 of behavior, stress, and the brain. Oh my. So I'm Dr. Tara Scharich. I am thrilled that you are here to dig into more tools to be able to help your children thrive. So we started video 1 really understanding ideal brain development from primitive reflexes into that movement, touch, gross to fine motor in that category. And then in that second year, more that auditory verbal skills starting to develop. And then lastly, that visual cognition, right? Being able to, in your mind's eye, predict the future, understand emotion, so much awesome stuff that happens. Those first 5 years of life, the brain is just continuing to develop in such a huge way. And it's in the first 24 years of life until the front of the brain is completely remodeled. So if you have teenagers, again, their brain is still shifting and changing. And even as an adult, know that the brain can always change. So we talked about the brain. We also talked about stress. How does stress impact your brain? And especially as the brain's developing, super impactful if we have major stressors during brain development. And so that's why as a chiropractor, I'm speaking to you right now. That's also why at Fully Alive, Dr. Melanie and I are so passionate about the younger children getting started under chiropractic care. That first year of life, their brain is gonna double in size. By 6 years of age, 90% of the neural connections are made. And so it is vital that their brains be fed beautiful, powerful, clear information from their environment. And that's through their nervous system. So today though, well, in the second video, we talked about more behaviors. We talked about that continuum again, right? And what happens if the demand is higher than the tools that your child has. And if the demand comes in higher than their tools, they are going to use the tools that they have. They're going to drop down that hierarchy and they're going to use their most efficient tool. Not the most efficient tool, right? But their most efficient tool, which quite often is not going to serve what they're going through. And because of that, you're going to see a deflection or a behavior, right? Same thing. Deflection is really just, again, we're deflecting. The stress comes in, the deflection comes out. The behavior, the learning challenge, that socialization challenge, they are having a problem interacting, engaging, and in processing their world. And it's all telling us stress is too high. Demand is too high. So how can we help our kids really thrive? This is what we're talking about in this last video. And again, each of these topics could be an hour long. This is just really a summary. And if you are wanting for more, please follow us and come to, we do monthly workshops where we're digging in a deeper way. And we also would love to see if we can help you or your child. We do thorough brain-based and clinical assessments at Fully Alive, and we are honored to see what can we do to help. Are there any gaps in development? What's going on? But let's get into some things that you can do right now, some right now strategies to really be aware of and start implementing. And the first one we have already talked about kind of at length, and that's watching and wondering, right? Watch and wonder. It is such a key. Second one is meet their needs. The third is decrease their demands. Fourth, increase their tools. And fifth, connect and redirect. Now, we are going to go into each of those, so it's okay, you didn't have to write them all down. I'm going to take each of those one at a time. So let's talk about the watch and wonder. This, just a summary again, really get curious. Why is your child behaving the way they are? And really wonder about it. Write it down. Connect with Dr. Melanie or myself. Connect with other parents and try to understand more of the why. Don't necessarily ask your child. They don't know why they're doing what they're doing, but plot it on that hierarchy. Think about, okay, where is the demand coming in right now? Am I using my voice? I'm using my voice, but their tools, they're dropping down. They are physical, they're hitting, okay. So we have to, right? There's a gap here. So watch and wonder, because if we watch and wonder, then we can do one of the next 4 tools, which that next one is meet their needs. So watch and wonder and make sure, are all their needs being met for their brain to develop? We talked about initially how a flower has certain needs, and so does the brain, right? Are they getting outside enough? Are they getting the vitamin D from the sun? Are they getting the fresh air? Are they breathing nice and deep? Or are they stressed and breathing with that shallow breath where they're not getting the oxygen their brain needs? Are they drinking enough water, right? Are they dehydrated? Are they getting enough sleep? This is a huge one. How about movement, right? Are they exercising before they go to school? If your child is super hyper, I can tell you one of the biggest things you can do is have them go play outside in the morning. Right? You think about a dog with a lot of energy. What do we know we need to do with them? We need to take them on long, exhausting walks. And if we do, they are a great dog. But if we don't, they tear up the house. And what happens when we send our kids to school? Right? They tear up the classroom. They're being forced to sit for a lot of hours without a lot of play, without a lot of fresh air, without a lot of time outside, without a lot of exercise. So what can we do to set them up to win? And that might be getting them up a little earlier and going outside. They might be going outside in bare feet to ground them, and then exercise and just play. Be in nature, be outdoors. If you're watching us in winter, I know it's hard, but even, getting all dressed up and in the snow, for them to be building and just playing could be a game changer. So are they getting enough movement, right? Are they getting all the nutrients they need in the food, right? We know our brain needs certain nutrients. Are they getting enough with omega-3? And is their food, is it nourishing? Or are they a picky eater? A lot of kids who have major behavior challenges are also picky eaters, and they want to eat cheese, mac and cheese, right? Maybe fruit, but not a lot of veggies. And that is, again, an indicator of an unhealthy gut, which is your second brain. And so the more we can have them, even if it's sneaking in spinach in a smoothie or whatever it is, the more nutrients we can get them, the better. And then lastly, we need to make sure we're meeting the needs of a connected nervous system, right? We know a plant needs tilled soil, needs good soil. No matter how good the seed is, if the soil isn't rich and it isn't ready for that seed, it's gonna be hard for it to grow. And it's the same thing with our brains. We need a connected nervous system. We can't have interference with the messages and the input to the brain if we don't want interference and unhealthy or not ideal messages coming out. So again, as a chiropractor, Dr. Melanie, that's what we do. We make sure we have connection and limited interference between the brain and the body. And when we have that, now your child's ready. They are ready for all these other tools, and they are ready to grow and develop and learn and thrive. So number one, watch and wonder. And you're gonna watch and wonder, are all their needs being met? That's the tool number 2. And tool number 3 is decrease their demand. We talked about if the demand's higher than the tools they have, what happens? Behaviors. So we need to decrease their demand. We need to get them out of that deep end, bring them into shallower water. And how do we do that? Well, it might be in your environment, right? Let's just decrease some of the clutter. Let's have way less toys. Let's have them have a home, and we can alternate. We can rotate things in and out. Let's decrease, right, how much clothes options we have. Let's decrease the demand visually with what's on the walls. Let's decrease the demand of what's on our schedule. This is a huge one, right? If your child is struggling, it may be saying no to some of the activities, even activities that are good. And it's just saying not now, right? What can we do to decrease our demand right now? What are those activities where you see your child having more deflections, chewing or sucking on their shirt, right? Where are you seeing those? And those are the things to right now to have conversations about, you know what, let's pull out of that. Let's pause that for now. Like I said with David, redoing first grade, we decreased the demand, even though teachers said, no, he's ready, he'll be fine. But we really wanted him to get that foundation, and I'm so grateful for that. And I will share with you, it is hard because there is a lot of pressure from our society that your kids continue, to be at the top and be the first one to read. And if your kid isn't reading, there's a problem. But I will tell you, pushing reading before their brain is ready is a disservice. There are a lot of things that we can do. If we can decrease the demand and use the tools that they have. We don't want them sounding out words, but we can physically, if you take a word, right, and you start to make body movements with it, or body movements with the letters, right? Bring in the tools that they already have that are well established, and that will help their brain blossom. But don't work harder. If they are stressed at school, the last thing they need at home is more and more demand, right? They need more connection. That's what they need. They need more safety. They need a place where they can be a kid. And I know that's hard, but I will tell you, if you can create that environment where their brain's ready to grow and learn, they will take off before you know it. And that's what with our son, right? He went from struggling to read and struggling in almost every area of school to all of a sudden reading novels. And just every area, we just saw him start to have things click. But we had to decrease some of those demands. So there's a lot of other examples. This is, again, another hour or weekend workshop that we could do on decreasing demand. But let's go on to our next one, which is increase their tools. How can you increase the tools in their toolbox, right? What else can they do to handle the stress better? Because the reality is, they are going to get thrown in the deep end sometimes, right? Even if you ask the teacher, right? This is another area you can decrease the demand of, like, when my child takes a test, if they can have a quiet room, or if my child can have headphones on during certain times of the day to decrease that demand. Kids who wear hoods, they are on their own decreasing their visual demand, right? And you may notice yourself doing that sometimes, right? Again, hats, all of that, it can decrease the demand, but we need more tools because we know that sometimes life does get stressful and we can't protect them from all stress. So how do we increase the tools? And there are short-term, right now strategies, and there are also, right, long-term. But a tool that you can use right now as a short-term is if they don't have that visual cognition, if they seem like multi-steps is hard for them and it's stressful, yes, they may be able to read. I can read, but I can tell you, when I learn this information, I don't predict or see things in my mind's eye the way most people do. And so I memorize lists. I memorize everything. And I did great in school, but I was an anxious, stressed out child, teenager, 20-year-old in chiropractic school, forcing myself to get straight A's and prove I am smart and I am good. But but I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the most efficient tools, but I found ways around it, right? I wrote out my notes multiple times and condensed them into little cards, right? Because movement and touch, you'll see, like my arms are everywhere because my primary tools, especially when life is stressful, I drop down, and movement and touch is how I learn. Praise God, I'm a chiropractor, right? Who uses her hands. But it's okay, right? If you're not there yet, if you're not using the most sophisticated tools, we're still thriving, and we want more for our kids, right? I want more for my kids. I don't want for them to have to be as stressed and anxious getting the good grades. I want to give them tools. And so there's lots of ways, right? If we can decrease the stress, decrease the demand, but then help them, right? Be able to visualize better. And that may be drawing out pictures of, if mealtime is stressful, drawing out, okay, what exactly happens? If they're stressing about going to school, getting pictures beforehand of the teacher and the room and the class and driving it multiple times and putting those pictures in a book, having them tell you the story, right? These are tools that you can be using. But as far as tools for the kids, we need them eventually to be able to adapt better, right? Be able to use not just that hindbrain, but to be able to use their whole brain. And that's what, as a chiropractor, right, that's what we help kids do is using their whole brain and removing interference so they have more adaptability, right? It's almost like instead of the little water wings in the deep end, they've got a life jacket, right? Or we've taught them how to swim. We've taught them how to slow breathe when they get a little stressed out. Right? We've taught them how to bring all 5 of their senses into play instead of just looking at everything. Oh, wait, what does it smell like? Right? What can I hear right now? I am here. Focus on your breathing, and now focus on your teacher. Right? There's so many different tools we can do to increase their tools. And then we also want to make sure, lastly, that we're helping them connect their right and their left side of their brain. And we do that by connection first and then redirect. So connect and redirect. So when a child's struggling and they have big emotions, that's more right side of the brain, or they're dropping completely down into their hindbrain. If we're to rationalize with them right now, how does that go? Not very successful, right? Usually, you're just gonna get more emotion. Or if we come in and we jump in the deep end with them too, now we're both drowning, that's not the answer either. But one practical tool right now, strategy for you is when there's big emotions in your home is to connect, and connect at the level that they're at. So that can mean connect at the level, right? If they're little, getting down to their level, but it also means if it's all physical, that you are also connecting with them in that physical way. Not hitting back, but hugging them, touching their shoulder, letting them know it's gonna be okay, with your tone, calming them down, connecting with them, looking into their eye, seeing them, not their behavior, right? They're not a bad kid. They're a stressed out kid right now. And you can help get them back, right, into that whole brain. And when you connect with them with their right side of their brain, now you can redirect once they're calmed down and rationally talk to them in more of their left side of their brain. So again, all of these are conversations that we could dive into, and we will at different times, but I just love that you guys are all here, you're learning, and let's really talk about those 5 tools again, right? Watch and wonder, meet their needs, decrease their demand, increase their tools, connect and redirect. If you want more help, we're here for you. We do a brain-based assessment where we're answering and asking 2 big questions. Is there anything interfering, one, with your child's processing and output, right? Is there anything interfering with the messages between the brain and the body? body and the brain. Are there subluxations? That's what we look for, neurostructural shifts. And the second question we ask in our exams, number 2, we are looking to say and to see, are there any gaps in development? How is their brain adapting to stress, right? What tools are they using? What are their primary tools? And what tools what parts of the brain may we have some inefficiencies in? Because then with that information, we can see what we can do to help your child start to use more of their whole brain, right? To help their brain open up like a flower, to help them be the best version of themselves, which helps you be the best version of yourself too. So thank you for being here. Thank you for learning. Share these videos with others. And please reach out to Fully Alive. You can schedule, we do free consultations so we can really connect and explain a little more about what we do and what care would look like in our office. And I have an opportunity, and Dr. Melanie has an opportunity to learn more about what's going on with your child. And together we can figure out, are we the right office to do more testing? And if so, we would love to do that. So thank you for your time. Have a beautiful day and continue to watch and wonder.